Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Look at you in your fall sweater.
Hello. I love it. Oh my god, I didn't realize. I was thinking, oh, it's not this. Okay, it's not October 1st, but it's close. I would have been, dang, that would have been great to wear this
I
on
mean,
October 1st. Close enough.
it's October 2nd.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough.
And my birthday month. You know how weird it is? I feel like every year we have a show on my birthday, and I don't know, like, my birthday's supposed to change year to years, but I feel like the last few years we've had a show on my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
What, because of leap day, maybe? I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
hello, everybody. Maybe
Hey
we
guys,
should do that.
they know who we are at this point.
I know. Well, for those that might be new, welcome. And thank you for joining us. I am Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and I help people deal with their internal emotions, or what we're going to talk about today, the storm within, so that way you don't create a storm without on the outside, that is. And welcome to Moment of Presence. And
Hi guys, I'm Krista. I work a lot in operations, but I coach people through their operational struggles. And I'm a CRM strategist and Michelle's daughter and a childhood cancer survivor and just a cool person.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because that plays into this conversation a bit
Okay.
in a roundabout way. So, today's topic.
Yeah.
So, as typical, we had something else on the calendar. And I was scrolling this morning and found this really cool video. I posted it on my personal Facebook page if you want to go see that. And it's about shining your light. We all have a light within ourselves. And it's our gift. It's our life force. And when we shine that light, it impacts others. It is contagious in a good way, in the best way, as the sun shines. And so it brings growth, it brings joy, it brings clarity, it brings happiness uh, to you and to everyone that you impact or that you're around. And so when you're not shining your light, whether it's because you're afraid, some people don't want, they think they're too much. I actually went through that stage where I was like, I'm too much. I'm too much for people. Uh, and someone said to me, does anyone tell the sun that it's too much? But that analogy doesn't always work because, yes, some people do say that the sun is too much. It's too hot or it's too bright. Uh, but we can't judge our own light. We are our own light. And as something shines, as something has a light, there's always a shadow, right? As a kid, we walked in the sun and there was always a shadow following us. Well, if you apply that emotionally, internally, we have shadows. And those shadows can disrupt how we feel about ourselves, our light, and can wreak havoc on relationships and how we interact in the world. And so when I saw this video this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great topic, especially with all of the crap that is going on right now.
Yeah. Well, where would you like to start, regarding that crap going on?
One, I want to remind everybody that everything I just said, you have control over, in the sense of not what's going on in the world, but how you respond to it and how you show up in the world. And if you're dimming your light, people can say, well, everything that's going on in the world is dimming my light. The storm outside, the America storm is making me feel this way, and I feel like this and I feel like that. That is you allowing the situation that we're all in. We're all in this together. We're all watching it together. Humans behaving badly and treating each other poorly, And so we're allowing that to impact our own light. And so, is it worth it? Is it not worth it?
I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
That was really, really good.
Thank you. I'm
And I
really
want
proud
to
of
say,
that.
and I want to say something about that because when things are really, really tense, is a amazing time to inject humor, and there's a lot of that that's happening,
I
and it's
think there's,
only naturally pushed back.
there's a reason why the people that have gone through the hardest challenges, some of the hardest challenges in life, have the darkest, as the common folk would say, the darkest sense of humor, because you have to find the humor in negative situations. You have to. There's no alternative. So if you can get to a point, and here's the thing that I think is the funniest and the most ironic, is those are the people, ironically, who probably have, even unintentionally, done the most work,
Mm-hmm.
because they're the ones that aren't holding themselves to shoulds, and they're not letting their environment hold them back and keep them down. They're making jokes about it because they know, like, there's nothing I can do here, so I'm gonna have fun with this situation because there's nothing else that I can do. I'm releasing control, and I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make some positive out of this negative situation.
Yeah. Working at the hospital, it's some serious stuff. And there were times that, yeah, you would say that we all had some dark moments, like dark humor moments, but it was all we could do to get through the day. If we weren't able to do that, if you hold that all in and you don't let it out in some form, then it's going to start poisoning you from within.
Yeah,
And so you have to find a harmony with your light, your shadow, how you process everything, and how you allow the external to impact your internal. And that's really the biggest thing, because like you said, there are certain things that we can control and there's certain things that we can't control but still impact us.
absolutely. And I think that all comes down, I mean, just the entire premise of today's episode is, if there's a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot going on just in our country, but there's a lot going on around the world. And I'm seeing a lot of local people, to me, being very, very affected, like emotionally distraught over things that are happening halfway around the world that ultimately have no impact on them. And it is literally affecting their everyday. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't be passionate and interested about world affairs. It's not to say that you shouldn't be empathetic, or sympathetic, I should say, to the people going through terrible situations around the world. But there's a lot of picking and choosing over what we're going to get upset and distraught about. And there's a certain emotional freedom, but just freedom that comes from understanding and coming to terms with the fact that I can't control what's happening in the Middle East. I can't control what's happening across the country. I can barely control what's happening in my city. What I can control is myself. I can control my household to a certain degree. I can control the actions that I take. I can control my emotions to a certain extent. Um, but to allow all of that to run your life is a first class ticket to having zero emotional regulation, zero emotional responsibility.
Right. And there's a lot of good that's also happening in the world, but it's what you decide you're going to look at, what you're going to allow yourself to celebrate, even if it's happening in the other side or came from the other camp. It may be good, but I'm not going to celebrate it because. And that's sad to me. And where this really, like, it was like a pie in the face for me was, the other day I was pleasantly surprised to see a whole, uh,
Press conference.
yeah, it was a press conference from the Oval Office, and there were a bunch of kids that are battling and surviving cancer. And there's been, President Trump put all these extra funding into uh,
50 million
bringing
extra
all the
dollars into childhood cancer research and awareness to find a cure. And I'll tell you what, just to make this a little bit more impactful, go ahead and look up what percentage of these organizations that exist, how much is actually going to childhood cancer research. Because I know we used to do Relay for Life when I was a kid. Turns out it's 1% of that
it,
funding,
yeah, it
one
used to
maybe
be
3%,
1% to
1%
pediatric cancer.
to childhood cancer
Yes.
research. Some of these other organizations, I wonder what their executives are making compared to what's going to research. I don't know, something to look into.
Yep.
But it's a very different dynamic when there is a decree by the president that additional funds are going to be allocated to specifically childhood cancer research.
And it was done on September 30th, which was the last day of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so, for me, the mom of a childhood cancer survivor, and also the advocate that worked at the pediatric hospital that saw how many kids didn't make it and that are no longer with us, or those that are still battling. Shout out Matt, if you're watching. He's an adult now. 15 years. The kid deserves a cure. And if the cure is out there and if it's AI generated, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. But if you put all of the data together, which is something that we all used to say, like, you have this organization working on this and this one and this one and this. How about we all put everything together and try to figure it out? Okay, that was my rant on that. But my point is that I'm celebrating the fact that money's being allocated and that a cure is numbers have gotten better, but they're still not 100%. And there shouldn't even be 100% cure rate. There should be no diagnosis for a child. That's my
Hold on,
point.
hold on. No diagnosis needed.
Needed. Yes.
You're saying half
Sorry.
phrases here. But yeah, no, 100%. I mean, listen, I was on a trial treatment. That's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
As far
Yeah.
as we know, who know, we don't even know how many of that treatment or trial survived, but whatever happened with that data. Now, I might be an outlier, but what happened with that data? Unfortunately, probably not a whole lot, knowing how things work.
All right. Well, I'm going to say that it helped a
My,
lot.
my point is now that all of that research is going to be
Now,
combined,
right.
perhaps it will make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my point is that I was celebrating that, and yet no one showed up to join in with me in that celebration, maybe because they didn't like where it was coming from, what side of the aisle it was coming from. And that to me is sad, because we're saving lives. Does it really matter who's doing the saving? We're saving lives. And so, again, it goes back to humans behaving poorly and badly to each other because of division versus what do we all have in common. And we all have blood running through our veins. We're all humans. Where is the humanity in not celebrating saving lives? Not celebrating that.
It all comes down to being addicted to victimhood, unfortunately, and it's funny because it doesn't seem like it on the surface, but if you get yourself in enough of a spiral to feel like you're a victim, that becomes intoxicating. There is a certain thing that when, like with people who are depressed or anxious, when you've been depressed for so long, your brain gets used to that feeling. And
Right.
so anything that deviates from that feels uncomfortable. So even though that other feeling is feeling good, your body and your psyche is not used to it. So it's hard it's hard for that person to exist in that environment because it's a positive feeling and they're used to feeling so terrible for so long. Victimhood is the same way, and it's very tricky and it's very smart and it disguises itself very well. But ultimately, what we're looking at here is if you are so ingrained in that, in any sort of mindset where you're not capable of celebrating the positives just because maybe it came from someone that you don't really like, that you're stuck in I'm being ostracized, I'm being targeted, I'm being all these things. And in order to keep that facade up, your psyche is going to convince it, your psyche is going to come up with reasons to prove what you already think. So
Absolutely.
that's just good. It's a never ending vicious cycle unless you specifically are ready to break it.
Right. And it goes the opposite way too, because if something happens that is horrific and it's outside of your circle or outside of your belief, does that is it being a good human to just, I mean, the basic thing that we learned in kindergarten and probably before is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And what happened to that, by the way? And if something horrible happens to somebody else, where's the empathy? Where's that this is not good? Like humans are really behaving really bad. Um, and I keep going back to that because I think we've all forgotten that we are the same and different at the same time. We all started from the same place, and we all had to grow and learn and develop. Uh, but, but we're all the same. Like we bleed the same blood.
Well, I have two things to say on this. One is there's something very real and true about what you focus on is what you actually see. If you're committed to seeing the positives in things, no matter what comes across your plate, you're gonna see the positive aspects of it.
Hmm.
Likewise, if you're so focused on, like I was kind of just saying, if you're so focused on the negative, that's what you're gonna see. And here's the thing, though, the very important key piece of all of this as well, and we talked a lot about it last week about like the social media algorithms and what you're being fed. Social media has made all of this a million times worse for the exact reason of what your mindset is focused on is what you're going to see. If you're training your algorithm to show you, like, let's say you start engaging and commenting on things and responding to people in comments and
Hmm.
engaging in because it just ticks you off, you got to say something.
Right.
Your algorithm is going to show you more of that because it considers it engagement. It's kind of like when you have a dog and you're yelling at them, but they think it's you're playing with them,
Right.
or you're trying to take something away from them, like something they're not supposed to have, and they're trying to jump at it because they think you guys are just playing. The algorithm works the same way. It doesn't know if your engagement is a negative engagement or a positive one. It's just seeing that you're engaging.
Hmm.
So all of this is compounded by the fact that this little stupid device that we all rely on so much, it's been trained on whatever you've been training it. So if you've been mostly focusing on the negative, all you're going to keep getting is more of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to seem like there's only negative things happening in the world
Hmm.
unless you train your algorithm and your internal algorithm.
Hmm. And that was exactly where I was going to go next. But first, real quick, if please like the video wherever you're watching us, because we are streaming on multiple platforms, and definitely share this out to whoever also may need to hear this message. Um, there are, well, two things. One, there are outlets where you can, and I just typed it in just to prove my point. Only Good News Daily, Positive News, Good News Network. What are you feeding into your mind? What are you watching? Are you watching the typical Facebook, or are you pulling up daily good news that inspires? Positivenewsus.org. Like, go look at some of these so that way you can see the positive things And some of the positive even comes from some of the horrific things that we've seen recently. And there's been a lot of positivity that's come from certain situations, whether it's a community coming together, whether it's, rekindling your faith, whatever it may be. There are people out there that it's impacting, and they're running with it in a good way, not a negative way. Um, so that was number one, and number two.
Also, hold on real quick.
Yeah,
I'm using essential oils because we're having some construction done, and there's a terrible glue smell coming through the hallway. So
I
I'm
was
just
wondering.
smelling essential oils because it's a horrific smell. So just FYI.
um and the other thing is what you touched on as far as the algorithm, because we have our own internal algorithm,
100%.
and it impacts the law of attraction. The brain, the mind, the heart does not know the difference. And so if you're always in a sad state, the brain is going to go, or the heart's going to go, cool, they like to feel this way, let's give them more to be sad about.
Yep.
Oh, cool, they're laughing and this feels good, let's give them more to feel good about. You are in control of that. I'll say that again.
Yes, ma'am.
You are in control of what you're feeding your mind, and therefore what you're attracting. So if you're focused on more of the positive aspects, on the things, that the shit show of this storm that's happening, you're going to get more of what you're focused on. It's true. It's real. It's a universal
Yeah,
law. What you put out is what you get back. And so be mindful of that. If something's
absolutely.
upsetting you, take a step back, take a breath, couple deep breaths.
Something's making your blood pressure spike. Stop watching internet videos.
Yes, exactly.
Something's making you nauseous. Sniff some peppermint oil.
You have to do the things for to keep your internal self regulated, to keep your internal algorithm on the positive side. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of anybody else. And how you impact everyone else is what is going to impact you.
Yeah.
So if you're in a group of people and everyone is upset, ticked off, you can either be the calming force and put out some calming energy, maybe some realistic ideas, and bring the tone of it down, maybe inject some humor, or you can join in the crowd.
I mean, here's the other thing. Social media has made us all feel like we're main characters. It's okay to just sit back, observe, not engage at all, and pull back, a little bit more to yourself until you're in a different spot and you actually feel called to be involved in something. I think, social media, especially with a lot of the different situations happening around the world, we all there's this pressure from influencers and people on the internet to like take a stand and be involved. You can really just not. You can say, you know what? I
Yeah.
feel sympathy, I feel empathy, I want to be educated on the situation even, but I don't need to give any of my energy to this. This isn't my fight. This isn't my main focus. I'm more focused on my career, my home, my family, my friends, my financial situation. Like there's a lot of other things that may be of higher importance to us,
Mm-hmm.
but the internet can be very convincing that we need to be involved. We need to take a stand. We need to do all these things. You don't need to do anything other than the basics of survival for you and your family
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So don't be
You
tricked into feeling like you have to do anything by the internet. If
right.
you're called to, that's a whole different conversation. But are
Right.
you feeling called to, or is the internet telling you feel called to? That's a whole other conversation.
Right. And joining in and making things worse or making things better, again, is your choice. And Here's what I'm going to say about this little portion of this. If there's something that upsets you, and you're just feeling irate, probably not the time to post. Take a step back. Again, take a deep breath and maybe unemotionally look at both sides. You can have your thoughts, your feelings about it. But as Krista reminded us, why are you letting your blood pressure go up? If it is it your fight? And so some of these questions you have to ask yourself is, why is this upsetting me so much? Why am I feeling so drawn to this? And this is a perfect time for you to address these shadows. And guess what? Like I said in the beginning, we all have shadows. We all have the victim, the saboteur, that voice inside of us that wants to sabotage our good mood. And so says,
So it goes,
you should be.
well,
Yeah, you should be concerned about this. This should really tick you off. And it's like, wait a second, hold on a minute. This isn't even my fight.
I don't want to skirt over the tremendous exercise that you just expressed, which is when you're feeling angry, mad, stressed, frustrated, any big emotion is literally not the time to take any action, not just post or not post, but it's not the time to send that email. It's not the time to say
Right.
anything. It's not the time to act in some way. And if you can cultivate the internal strength to pause and let yourself take a breath before you take action, it literally will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
It'll prevent you from sending that email, that irate email to your boss, or just phrasing things the wrong way where it creates more of an issue. You need, before taking, I mean, there's going to be some situations where you have to act. In an emergency situation, there's
Sure.
physical altercation, things like that's different. But we've all had that moment where somebody on our team is, maybe sends an email kind of accusing us of doing something or not doing something, and you know that you did, and you're like, oh, well, I need to get back to them. I need to set the record straight. Those are the kind of situations that we're talking about, where by giving yourself that chance to slow down, take a second. I've done that so many times, and I promise you, that email, that phone call, that thing that comes out of my mouth is completely different than what my original intention was. I've even gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm so mad that I can't not do anything. So I'll open up like a notepad and write
Right.
out the email I wanted to write.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even that whew, the difference in what you actually send when you give yourself
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm. And it's a natural process. You're allowing it to come out, up and out. And so it actually ends up being very healthy because you're not trying to push it down and ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving it a voice, you're naming it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling put down, pissed off, unheard, whatever it is. And it's always interesting when this happens with me because if I when I take a step back and I take a look at it, I'm like, wait a second, why did that hit me like that? Why is it affecting me like this? And I take a look at it and I'm like, oh, it's reminding me of that time. Remember when? And it's my shadow going, knock knock. This happened before, and it's probably going to happen again. So you should stop it now. And then what ends up happening is that's not what was going on at all, and I misread the situation. And
It's very funny how we can misread body language, tones, all sorts of things when we're in a heated moment.
yeah, and that's why getting curious, if you can get yourself um, to that point where you're getting curious, you're doing yourself a better, putting yourself in a better place and giving back more control.
Yeah.
um, there's a lot that goes on with shadow work, and we could go on for hours and hours about it. um, and this is it's my jam. I love helping people dive into the shadow, because if you don't accept your shadow gets louder. And if you've been watching us for a while, I used to talk about the emergency or the warning lights in your car. That's what the shadow is. The shadow voices are just there trying to warn you, trying to prevent something bad. But if you, from your heart, from your mind, can let those voices come up, share what's up, going on, and then you can discuss it in your head, curious, out of curiosity, you can quiet it down. You can understand where it's coming from, and you can correct the course correct.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot that goes into this. Why don't we take some deep breaths? This has been I know a little, I know I got excited, but don't you take too deep a breaths, because I know the smell
I'll
in the
take a
house is
breath
probably
of
too.
peppermint.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to bring ourselves into the moment right now, not what's going on around the world. Turn off your freaking phone. Go look at daily good or positive news when we're done. But I want everyone to just take in a nice big cleansing breath and hold it, and just think of something positive, whether it's butterflies, clouds, unicorns, I don't care. And
New
then
countertops being installed.
new countertops being installed, and exhale. Just imagine those feelings just moving away from you. And you can even like blow it out like you're blowing out a birthday candle, which will be next week's show for Krista. Deep breath in and bring up all those feelings and emotions that you want to just let go. Just see them rolling off of your shoulder like water off of a duck's feather, and then just let it out. I don't know where I get these analogies. Deep breath in. How's that peppermint doing?
Pretty good.
And then nice exhale. So, if you want to hear more about shadow work, you want to talk it out or get some ideas on how to process the shadows or even how to communicate with your own shadows. Because guess what? They're never going away. And that's a good thing. It would be like trying to, getting rid of a part of yourself. We want to integrate them more into our life, not push them away. So if you want to talk more about it, again, I could talk about it for hours. We'd love to help you. You just have to book a call. You contact me on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere. You can find me. Just comment that you would like some guidance, and I'm happy to help. Krista, where can people find you?
You'll find me online. You can look me up. Same as Michelle, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those good things.
Uh, Appreciate us always being here. Appreciate you all being here, tuning in, uh, watching, sharing out, liking, letting us know that you're there. It's always good. So remember, every day that you wake up, you have to make a choice. You don't just let the day affect you. You are deliberate. You get to make the choice. You're in control. And you can choose if it's going to be a good day or a bad day. It's completely up to you. It's all within your reach because it's internal. So choose wisely. Talk next week
See you
for the
later.
big birthday celebration.
We're just going to have a normal episode. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.